Everybody loves Lollipop Chainsaw, and we've all put a lot of trust and faith into Dragami Games to do right by this title. But now that we finally have the full trailer and release date for RePOP, people are talking about something that they featured in the trailer, that there is an original mode that is based on the original release, or RePOP mode, which has less violence and uses pop art damage effects. I have a few things to show off, but if you enjoy the content I create, follow me on social media, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I have talked a lot about Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP on the channel because I absolutely love this game and I want them to do the best job they possibly could. And of course, we've all been worried that it could be censored, even though we've gotten tons of promises from the developers, from the director, that there would not be any censorship. Of course, it's still a worry. We've seen promises that companies end up not being able to keep due to platform holders, of course, like Sony forcing censorship upon a product or else it can't release on their platforms. And especially, we saw most recently Stellar Blade. It was a game everyone was excited for that did, yes, unfortunately, feature censorship, even though days before release, we were promised that it was not going to. But now we have a bunch of new information on RePOP. We have the official first trailer for it, and some people are questioning one little statement that they made right at the beginning of the trailer. So let's start off with some of the changes. So of course, this was originally years ago supposed to be a remake, and then their plan kind of shifted into more of a remaster. I think a lot of people still were hoping it was going to be a remake, but we knew that that was not the case quite a while ago, which was a little disappointing to me. But at the same time, I would rather them do something like a remaster instead of have to change the entire tone of the game, which it doesn't seem like that happened. But here is a list of the changes. We have, of course, resolution and frame rate. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and Steam is 4K 60 FPS, while the Switch, PlayStation 4 Pro, and Xbox One are 1080 30 FPS. Of course, buying it on the PS5 series and Steam is going to be the better option so you can get the highest level of quality. We know that the RePOP mode has distinct and colorful pop art style for damage effects, shorter load times, auto QTE options, various gameplay improvements, and new streamer mode. So yes, this is more of a remaster. We also know that the soundtrack will not feature a lot of the songs from the original game. The soundtrack is based around original songs, and that is of course because of copyright. We've known that this was going to happen, even though yes, some people have said this is a bit of a downgrade. I'm personally still looking forward to this, but one part of the trailer really got people talking, and that is this little we'll call it just a content warning here, because it's like at the beginning. It says Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP allows players to select original mode, which is based on the original release, or RePOP mode, which has less violence and uses pop art damage effects. This trailer uses in-game footage from RePOP mode, and of course, I watched this a couple of times and it does still look really good. I still personally am very, very excited for this to release, but obviously the people who would be looking for this, we'll call it censored mode, most likely aren't even going to buy this game. It seems kind of useless in my opinion, but hey, if they had the extra time and the money and this is something they really wanted to do, then sure, the more options the better. I will always be for providing players with as many options as possible, and I'm just happy the original mode is uncensored. And of course, besides this, we'll call it for argument's sake censored mode, it looks really good for a remaster. Now, does it look as good as like a remake would have? Of course not, but at the same time, time, I'm just happy we're getting some kind of Lollipop Chainsaw content. I know so many people have been asking for so many years for a sequel or a remake or just something in regards to this franchise, and I'm happy that we're finally seeing it. I'm still a bit sad it wasn't a remake, especially given they've had to remove some of the songs featured in the original game due to licensing, and they could have gotten the original voice actors back to re-record the exact lines since they're still actively working, like Tara Strong, Sean Gunn, Linda Cardinelli, but I'm still happy with what I personally am seeing so far, and I would say the response to this is, yes, very positive. On the official Dragami Games YouTube, it's got 130,000 views, sitting at 4.6k likes to 44 dislikes. And again, I'm not condemning them for adding a toggle, but I'm just asking the question, what is the point? I said this with Bayonetta 3 as well. They added a toggle outfit tone down mode. They added it to cover up some of the females' extra skin, like that Ceresa showed, some of the cleavage. And I didn't really see anybody say, oh, I wasn't going to purchase this game if you didn't add a censored mode. So it just seemed like they had a little bit of extra money and time on their hands, and they figured, oh, what the heck, if maybe this will get a few extra people to buy it, then we're just going to add this feature. But yeah, I mean, we also know that the costumes are not censored either. These are the alternative costumes in Lollipop Chainsaw RePOP. Again, they look very, very good. We're seeing a lot of cleavage, a lot of skin showing. We have just such a good lineup here, and they do deserve praise. I love Juliet. I love Lollipop Chainsaw. I'm very happy to see so many different outfits here, so many options. We've even, of course, down at the bottom right, got the maid outfit, and it just looks really, really good. And there were some costumes like this pink one, for example, this bodysuit that I thought for sure, if there's going to be any censorship, it was going to have to do with the costumes. I didn't think that they were really going to tone down her model at all, but you know, exactly what we saw with Stellar Blade. Eve had a lot of, big assets, but they ended up adding, some lace and fabric over cleavage and over her butt and whatnot, but it looks so far like that is not going to happen with this Lollipop Chainsaw. And yes, I totally understand why seeing this at the very beginning of the trailer, this warning saying, oh, by the way, there's going to be RePOP mode, which has less violence and uses pop art damage effects, is worrying. And yeah, I mean, you can tell, given the footage, if you look at something like this, which was, of course, in the original game's release, you can see all the blood splatter on the screen. That is not going to be in RePOP mode. But as long as the original mode truly does contain every piece of violence and gore that was in the original launch of the game, then everything will be fine. And of course, take this all with a heaping, serving of skepticism, just because we have been told so many times one thing and then developers do another, and until we've actually played original mode or we have seen gameplay from original mode on their official YouTube page, be a little bit worried. Still, it's always good to be critical of developers, but this game, RePOP, does look really good, and I'm personally excited for it, and so many other people are, of course, as well. Going back to the YouTube channel and just reading some of the comments, people are praising them. Juliet, my beloved, she looks amazing. We are so mad we didn't hear any dialogue. I'm a little upset we didn't hear any dialogue either, but of course I'm sure they're going to show a bunch of trailers to try to market this, but as far as we know, and as far as they've told us, they didn't re-record anything. Less violence, because that's the last thing we want in our chainsaw zombie game is violence. Yeah, I mean, it is a bit silly, especially to highlight that in your first trailer to market this game, but at the same time, original mode is really what a lot of people wanted, and I'm all for giving players more options, even if I personally wouldn't use the censored mode over the original mode. Of course, Gaming is back, lads. Let's go. On Switch and Steam. Oh, hell yes, I'm buying. I'm so glad to see that they are putting this on so many consoles. So, of course, we're still a few months away from release as it doesn't launch until September 25th. So, of course, I will be keeping my eye on this to see if any new information releases, if they show any other teasers and trailers, or anybody spots anything that looks a little bit different. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.